What's up, guys? Welcome to a new video. So Heather and I are out here in the mountains. Obviously by now most of you know the situation with my father. He had a wreck out here about 5 days ago. We spent 3 days with him in the hospital, and we were finally able to fly him back to Florida, obviously. So he's back home. He's feeling good. He's feeling a lot better. We wanted to update everybody on his situation. So he broke 3 bones in his neck, 3 bones in his spine, and then he also broke a rib. He broke 1 rib. He broke his nose bone and his cheekbone. You know, unfortunately, this is the risk we take doing such a dangerous sport like we do. But we were fortunate enough he has no internal bleeding, he has no organ damage. Anything else, Heather?
Yes, he also had a 3-inch laceration to his forehead.
That's right.
Which caused him to be gushing blood, and it was probably the most concerning part to begin with, was just making sure he didn't lose too much blood. And I think you're going to do another video detailing the crash, right?
Yeah, I most likely will. The video...
Can I keep going?
Yeah, go ahead.
So we won't have to talk about everything, but essentially the people that were behind him at the time were angels, and were able to immediately apply pressure to his wound and start wrapping it so that he didn't lose too much blood, because we didn't even know that he had wrecked yet, because we had been ahead of him. And I am going to pass this vehicle as soon as I get the chance, just a heads up. Wow, 30 miles an hour. So yes, the blood loss was I'm going. Was the initial concern. You're good?
Yep.
And so that had to get stitched up with 2 layers of stitches, so it was a pretty deep gash. We don't know exactly how deep it was, but it could potentially have been to his skull. So what I think we could lead off to on that is the fact that he was wearing all of his gear. He had his full suit on, his boots, his gloves, his helmet, and even with all of that protection, the fact that he was going only 25 miles an hour on the ground and taking it easy, all it took was a little bit of water in the road and hit the rear wheel losing traction to result in this crash. He was very much responsible about how he was riding. He wasn't taking any unnecessary risk, and he had all of his gear, and he was still injured to this extent. And we've been trying to understand how, even with his helmet, he received the gash to his forehead and the fractured cheekbone and his nose. And we think it's because when he hit the tree, his visor flew off, and then he was knocked unconscious at that point because he hit head first. And then he basically...
You gotta slow down a little bit, because you're gonna be really windy.
Sorry. So once he hit his head, his body continued flying like a rag doll, and he ended up on the ground head first. You can see in the video that he hits his head, and then you can kind of see how his body rounds. So it unfortunately makes sense how his cervical fractures occurred. But we think that at that point there was probably rocks in front of where the visor would have protected him, and just awful. I don't even want to imagine it. So thankfully he was not conscious at that point. He does not have any recollection of that, but I can imagine the trauma involved.
Yeah, so he was like that, like Heather said, he was knocked out for 5 minutes. We probably weren't on the scene, I'd say probably for maybe 15 minutes. Because he wrecked around mile marker, probably close to 3.5, 4, and we actually went up to mile marker 10, which is the overlook, and we were waiting for him there. And then a guy pulled up and kind of told us that somebody went down and they were really hurt. So we hopped back on the bikes, you know, and it took another, you know, 7-8 minutes to get back down to where he was. So by the time we got back to him, he was conscious again. He really wasn't saying a whole lot, but he was saying that he could move all of his arms, his legs, everything. So he was in good shape already, considering, but the most dangerous, or like the most probably traumatizing thing for everyone around was seeing that he was losing a lot of blood from his forehead. He had a very big gash, like Heather said, on his forehead. So honestly, like, I came around the corner and I saw a bunch of guys over him, and I saw them holding a sheet up over him, so you can just imagine they were actually just trying to block the sun from him so he was as comfortable as possible. But you can just imagine what Heather and I were thinking when we come around the corner and realized that it was him.
It was absolutely the most terrifying thing I've ever seen. I don't even want to think about it.
Well, as many of you know, I did a video for our friend Luke, who actually passed away on the same road, not far from where my father had his accident. He passed away this past summer, and you know, it's one of those things that, like, one of the, you know, something that makes us feel so alive. I always say the sport makes us feel so alive, but it's also sometimes, you know, it's what causes people to lose their lives, unfortunately. And it's crazy to think that something that makes you feel so alive can be so dangerous and actually end your life. You know, fortunately enough that my father did not, you know, come to that point, but you can just imagine, like, the thoughts going through our heads when we're riding back. Oh, nice. Oh, that's
wow,
not nice.
Good job, guys.
See, this is the thing about out here, is a lot of people push it past with their comfort zone and they don't know the roads. I urge all of you that if you ever come out here, this isn't even Tail of the Dragon, this is Foothills Parkway, which is a beautiful, scenic, very windy road, freshly paved, just an amazing road, but at the same time it is definitely can be very dangerous, because some of the corners are a lot sharper than you would think, and a lot of the corners are like decreasing radius, like this one right here where it goes wide, and then it all of a sudden tucks in. And there's a lot of those in the Dragon, and people get spooked by that. They see the road basically ending. There's a vantage point and the road looks like it's ending, but it's really just hooking right really hard, or it's hooking left really hard at the end of the corner. And if you're not ready for that and you don't know that, and you're already pushing yourself, you know, to where your, you know, absolute comfort zone is pretty much gone, and then you're like hitting something that's even sharper, most people just freak out and they either hit the brake or they end up riding off the side of the road. In my dad's situation, he lost the rear, he lost traction in the rear, and then he regained traction, and I think by that time it was pretty much too late for him to do any correcting. And
I think he was intending to go off the road and stop, but unfortunately there was a drop off on the shoulder and a rock, a very large rock, that totally changed the trajectory with the bike.
Yeah, so
things you can't plan for. So I emphatically encourage people to never push themselves to a great extent of their riding. Like when we were getting our suspension set up, he asked on the street, what are you riding from 1 to 10? You should not be riding more than a 7. Honestly, he said 9. I think he's crazy. I would never be riding like that on the street. You said 9, and I was a little bit. Okay.
Yeah, I said 7, 100%.
I would say
I don't ride 90%.
Even on the track, I am only at a 9 because I'm not trying to put, I mean, I'm still new. There might come a point where I feel more confident in my ability, where I am actually really pushing my limits. That remains to be seen. We'll see over time. But the nature of what makes these roads so incredible with these mountains and the views and everything also includes the fact that there are mountains and there are cliffs, and so you don't have a margin of error here. You've got these distance of the road, but if you go off the road, it's not gonna end well. There's no chance. You might get lucky and low side and not go off the cliff, but you very well could go off the cliff, and then you're gonna have, assuming you and your bike are okay, you're gonna have to tow the bike and see it get dragged up the mountain, or if you hit the wall, like he hit a tree and the mountainside, and our rest in peace Luke hit the mountain and broke his neck on impact. So it is not forgiving whatsoever. Why would you push yourself to the point that that can happen? It's like,
it's the thrill. That's why people do it, and I understand the thrill, but at the same time you have to check yourself. And when I was younger, I rode fairly stupid at times. I've done some stupid stuff, not gonna lie.
We all have.
But as you get older, I don't know if it's getting older or getting wiser or having more important things come up in your life, but you know, you have to think about the consequences of not only yourself, but what you're gonna put your family through if something like that happens. And in my dad's situation, I really don't feel like there's anything he possibly could have done. He was probably going 25 miles an hour, and it's just one of those situations where it was kind of out of his control. The only way possible for that to have been controlled is if he wasn't riding at all, which isn't going to happen, because I know my dad. He's been riding since he was a kid. He's been riding for, I don't know, 40 plus years, and it's something he really enjoys, and it makes him feel alive too.
You have to live your life.
Yeah.
Live, like really live, and sometimes that means you're going to take the risks, but you have to calculate the risks.
Yeah, absolutely. Let me see your GoPro. Okay, I'm just making sure you're still recording.
Yeah, you are too.
Okay. Probably not the best place to check GoPros right here, but yeah.
There we go. Calculate your risks, guys.
Yeah. So yeah, it's one of those things that like can be super dangerous. It makes you feel so alive. We're gonna pull over on the next one, I believe. Just so you know.
Say that again.
On that one bridge, we'll pull over.
Okay.
So yeah, we just want to make a video and update everybody on his situation. We're still here. This is our last day here.
Turning left right now.
So this is our last day here, and we're basically just trying to enjoy it as much as we can. You know, my dad is safely at home. He has people caring for him there. He's able to get up, walk around. He's able to get up, walk around, and he can pretty much take care of himself for the most part. He just needs help getting up and down because of the back brace on him.
Yeah, he needs to limit his mobility for a bit and really stabilize that area and allow those fractures to heal. But I will tell you, one of the biggest wake-up calls with all of this happening was seeing everything that follows after the wreck. Because you just think, oh, it might hurt, I might have bike damage. That's kind of the limit of what I've ever really considered, but you don't think about just the trail of family and people that care about you, and how painful it is for all of them to see you suffering and going through that, and then they suffer trying to make sure that you're okay and whatever they can do to help. I mean, I can't tell you how many people have wanted to extend whatever assistance they can in the mountains and at home. Like, all of these people have been amazing, and
absolutely,
it really does affect more than you individually.
Yeah. So we just wanted to make a video, update you guys on the situation.
The lessons learned through this process, the wake-up call.
How quickly things can turn bad, even when you're doing everything possible to stay safe. So stay safe out there, guys. Want to say thank you to everyone who's reached out to my father, people that were involved in the crash and helped along the way. People have been texting me, 3, 4, or 5 days later, still, that I have never met in my life, asking how he's doing. And it just goes to show that this community is very strong, and
we all support one another.
The biker love is out there. So
we all share this passion, and we all want the best for one another.
So thanks for watching, guys. We'll keep you updated. I know, I always clap.
He's a clapper.
I'm a clapper. So
got the clap.
Just want to keep you guys updated. We'll keep you updated along the way via IG and YouTube as well. But thank you all for everything. Dad, I'm sure you're going to be watching this too. We love you, and we're glad that you're still here.
Absolutely.
And we'll be riding with you again soon. All
Counting
right.
down the days.
All right. Peace, guys. Ride safe and
Ride safe, y'all.
just be
I just
safe.
said y'all. I've been in the mountains too long.
All right, guys. Peace. Ride safe.
Maybe not too long. I'll take that back. I can say y'all. Peace out, guys.